Hello and welcome to this latest episode of the Sales Circle. Goodness, we are flying through this season. This is season 2. If you're joining us for the first time, thank you so much. If you're joining us for the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and so on, welcome back. The Sales Circle is a podcast that is designed to help you to make more sales, make more money, make more revenue. Whether that is as a salesperson, sales manager, sales director, maybe you're an entrepreneur yourself, maybe you're a CEO, maybe you're an MD, maybe you founded a business and the weakness that you have is sales. The Sales Circle is designed to give you motivation, to give you hints, tips, advice, real life stories, theories, statistics, so that you can go about your day in a better way and ultimately to sell more. But the most important thing is to sell more ethically, holistically, and better. My name is Rob Spence, your host. I'm an internationally renowned sales trainer, sales author, sales coach, and my passion in life is sales, okay? There is nothing, absolutely nothing, maybe one or two things, that I love more than helping people to sell. And in joining the Sales Circle, that's exactly what we're going to do today. So today we're going to talk about a topic that I think is so crucial, so key, so important for salespeople. And that is understanding the daily routines, sometimes the weekly routines, but just the routines of highly successful salespeople. Of course, there's that old adage that salespeople are like top performing athletes, right? We've got to be performing at our best pretty much daily to be getting the right results, okay? Working in sales is stressful. Let's not beat around the bush. We face rejection. We face objections. We work hard prospecting. We work hard developing relationships, and sometimes developing relationships with people that we don't want to develop relationships with. We are faced with targets. We are tasked with quotas. We are tasked with pressure and everything else in between. It's a bloody hard job, and that's why you've got to be a top performing athlete. Because if you are a top performing athlete, then lo and behold, your results get better. You make more sales. You get more happy customers. Therefore, you've got a happier boss. Therefore, the people that you provide for at home are a lot happier as well. So we've got to perform at our very best. So as always, this episode will be around half an hour long, give or take. In here, we've got some statistics. We've got some real life stories. We've got some listener questions and a book recommendation at the end. So what are we waiting for? Let's get stuck in. Working as a salesperson is tough. It's really hard. You're juggling so many plates. You're juggling so many things that are going on. You are dealing with emotions because you're talking to human beings. Those emotions are your own. Some of those emotions are those of your prospects, your customers, and of course your bosses and your management and your directors and everything else in between. And of course those at home pestering you to get a big commission check to pay for the next big holiday and everything else in between. And that's why habits truly matter. Salespeople must truly be pushed and refined at getting those daily activities done so that they can come away with a good output. Let's set the stage. Let's look at some statistics. We know I love a statistic. So now the top sales performers, so these guys that are earning big money, the 6-figure commission checks, the ones that are absolutely going skyrocketing sky high, top sales performers spend 65% of their time on activities that directly drive revenue, compared to just 22% for average performers. That's taken from Salesforce Direct. Let's break that down a little bit. I want you to ask yourself this. If you're a salesperson, how much time do you actually spend selling? And how much time do you spend just doing, putting out fires, admin, updating the CRM, making that extra cup of coffee, helping the boss do X, Y, Z? How much of your time is spent selling? And for me, I'm going to sort of break that down into prospecting, into presenting or proposing, into closing, and I guess to some degree, account management and repeat business and so on. How much time are you spending? Maybe it's an activity for this week. Spend some time looking at your time. If you are an out-and-out salesperson, even just look at a daily basis. How much of your time is spent prospecting? Those top sales performers spend 65% of their time, a majority of their time actually selling, that drive those sales forward. It could include posting on LinkedIn, messaging on LinkedIn, but they spend 65% of their time absolutely driving their sales forward. Average performers only take 22% of their day So I'm no mathematician, a standard 8-hour day, that's an hour and a half, isn't it? Give or take, of selling. Whereas top performers spend nearly, I don't know, once again, bad maths here, but 7%, 70%, 80% of their time, 7 or 8 hours a day, maybe, give or take. Here's another one. This one's taken from HubSpot. Sales people who plan their day are 33 times more productive and are more likely to exceed their targets and their quotas. So 33% more productive if they plan their day. Once again, ask yourself this. Do you plan your days? Or do you simply just mill? Do you just do? Do you firefight? Do you wait for the next email to come in? Or do you structure your day? Do you say, look, I'm going to spend 2 hours cold prospecting, which could include telephone, it could include LinkedIn, could include email, direct mail, whatever it is. I'm going to spend 2 hours prospecting. I'm going to spend a further 2 hours following up with prospects that I've already proposed to. I'm going to follow up with people that have already sort of sent a quote out, a proposal to X, Y, Z. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend another hour presenting and proposing to other people. Doesn't really matter how it lays out, but plan out your day. You see, habits create, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Habits create productive time. Habits create productivity. Habits create success. I'm willing to share that habits are what's made me and my business successful. I have had to endure habits. I have applied them into my head. They take time. What is the average statistic for a habit to fall in? I think it's like 20 days, is it? 21 days, maybe, give or take. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. It's like if you're starting a new gym routine. The first time you go to the gym, it's hell. The second time you go to the gym, still a bit hell. By the fourth, the fifth, the sixth time, it becomes a habit, and it's not a forced thing, right? It's the same with you and your daily habits. What I do is I'm very old-fashioned. I've got a paper diary. It's a bloody lovely diary. I treat myself every year, well, my partner does anyway, to a lovely Aspinall of London, a leather-bound A4 page per day, a leather-bound diary, and it's beautiful. It looks gorgeous on the desk. And I use that as my day-to-day to-do list. I write in there what I need to do. And I use it to plan ahead. And when things are done, I highlight things in green or I tick them off. I know that they're done. And some of the key things I put on there are prospecting time. Sometimes that is just, messaging and creating LinkedIn content. Sometimes it could be, searching sites for job opportunities and work opportunities for my team. Sometimes it is sending emails out, but I spend time creating those habits and those to-do lists. And although I do have a to-do list, it stops me. Beg pardon. It's sometimes I don't need it. Like if I feel weird if I don't put a LinkedIn post out, right? Because it's become so habitual. And I sit on the fence talking to you because it's very tough. I would no longer say I'm a direct salesperson. My job is no longer to, hit the phones, to sell. Of course, I have a selling obligation. I'm a CEO. I'm a managing director. I've got to sell and represent the company to grow the business. But I'm not here to cold call all day, prospect and hit targets, right? But what we should be doing is, for me as a business owner, because I do have to look after accounts, HR, operations, everything that goes on in the business, it stops me having decision fatigue. We've all had it where we go, oh, what do we do next? I don't know what to do. And we panic and we stress and we ruminate. And then we spend an hour going, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And then you've lost an hour. I just look at my to-do list. What jobs need to be done? Just go down one by one. Sorted, right? It also, by doing this kind of thing, it allows you to realize what truly is valued within your business, within your sales process. Where is your time best spent? If you are a salesperson, isn't your time best spent selling and making your company money? It's not best spent making coffees for everyone, sweeping the car park or anything else like that. So let's look at some top salespeople. I've done some research. I've done some studies. I've done some reading to find some of the best salespeople in the world and look at what they do. And I'm going to share some of those with you in just a second. So what are the tips on the habits that you can take on? So number one is to start with a good morning routine, right? We've got to start with the foundations. We've got to build up from the bottom. Grant Cardone, we've all heard of Grant Cardone, probably one of the leading sales trainers of our generation. He says to start the day with focus. He says success is not something that happens to you. It's something you make happen every single day. And the big tip, and here's one thing that I'd like you to take away, is write down goals each morning to stay motivated. I'm a big believer in having long-term goals. So within a month, I will achieve this. Within a year, I will achieve this. But what about the building blocks to help you get there? Day by day, for you to get home and think, do you know what? Today's been a good day. Today's been a successful day. What goals do you need to achieve? Those goals are up for you. It could be to make 10 additional cold calls. It could be to sign 2 customers. But set those goals and push for them. A lot of people talk about time blocking. Once again, something that I'm a big advocate for and I think is so important. It stops us flitting about and firefighting and dealing with things constantly whenever we see an email or a memo or anything like that. The best salespeople in the world schedule time for prospecting, follow-ups, and client calls. As we said earlier, maybe spend 2 hours prospecting, 2 hours following up, and so on and so forth. Now, here's a statistic for you taken directly from Forbes. They say that 21% of sales reps who adopt time blocking exceed their quotas consistently. 21%. Give it a go. The power of personalization. It's something that we talk a lot about on the podcast. And this tip comes from one of our previous book recommendations, Jeffrey Gittimer. If you missed that, head back a couple of episodes. You'll see a link to go and buy one of his books. But he believes that personal touches in sales interactions is so important, which I think will really help you stand out from the crowd, especially in this era of mass marketing, mass emailing, AI and automation. His tip says people don't like to be sold, but they love to buy. I'll say that bit again. People don't like to be sold, but they love to buy. Make them feel valued and understood by personalizing your outreach. Tip number 4 is to review and plan for tomorrow. Once again, the best performers, the best salespeople out there will look back on their day. If we've done what Grant Cardone says and set some goals, at the end of the day, review. What was good, what was bad, what can be done better? And what do we need to do tomorrow to catch up or to make amends? Plan those key tasks. Here's another statistic from Rain Group. They say sales reps who review and adjust their daily actions improve their performance by 25%. So just by a quarter, just by reviewing and planning. It makes perfect sense for you to do that, right? And finally, now this is a massive one for me. The best performers in the world continuously learn. They continuously study. They continuously adapt. They read. They watch seminars, webinars. They listen to mentors. They listen to podcasts like the Sales Circle podcast. They continuously learn. Even if you just dedicate 20 minutes a day to learning, you'll become a better person. My biggest tip, one thing that I do religiously, maybe not so much anymore actually, and I should get back into the habit. But when I was going through my big learning phase, I used to do this. I used to get 2 bookmarks. I used to set one here, and I used to count 15 pages. I put another bookmark there. That was my reading target for the day. If you do that daily, that's about 20 minutes, half an hour maybe at a push, depending on the book. You'll smash out books week on week. So make sure you continuously learn. So what about tips from other sales people, from other top performers? We've talked about Zig Ziglar on this podcast before. Once again, a great author, great sales trainer, great sales coach. He was also another previous book recommendation of ours. He says, start your day with gratitude and a positive mindset. Be thankful for your position. Be thankful for what's coming up. Your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude. Beautiful. I'm going to say that again. Your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude. The sky's the limit if you truly want it. Are you waking up going, bloody hell, I've got to follow up with all these people. I've got this massive target I need to hit. Do you know what? I've got 2 client calls I need to make, yada, yada, yada. Or are you saying, I'm so excited today. I've got 2 client calls, got loads of clients to follow up with. I've got so much on my plate. Be thankful for what you've got. We've all heard of Jordan Belfort, of course, the Wolf of Wall Street, the famous guy. Whether you love him or hate him, he was a good salesperson, right? He was a fantastic salesperson. Otherwise, he wouldn't have the success that he did. And that's not just within, obviously, Wolf of Wall Street fame. He's gone on to become a great sales trainer with some great ideas, thoughts, and theories. And of course, he invented straight line selling. And he says that mastering a structured sales process and practicing your pitch daily is the key to success. He says, practice your pitch with a colleague or record yourself for self-critique, which I think is a great sales tip. when we enter into a sales prospecting process, we get scared, we get daunted because there is a lot of the fear of unknown and we don't want to make mistakes. And sometimes if we do make mistakes, it loses our credibility and our authority, right? So practice. If you don't have colleagues or mentors to practice with, use your spouse, your friends. If they're not right for you, record it. Record it on your phone. Everyone's got a phone these days. Record it, listen back. Was it good? Was it bad? Give yourself some objections. How would you fight those? Practice. And finally, Tony Robbins, the man of motivation, right? The guy, the speaker, the guy that everyone follows. Tony Robbins, he talks a lot about energy. And one of the things that he says is, motion is emotion, right? He says motion creates emotion. Exercise for even 10 minutes can elevate focus and drive. I say this to you slightly with a higher fat percentage than I'd like right now, but we are earning Christmas, so what the heck. But when was the last time you truly exercised? When was the last time you went on a run, on a walk? When was the last time you did something to get your mind and your heart captivated? When was the last time you set foot in a gym? Have you spent your day in a car going to see a client for 4 hours with a bag of Haribo on your side and a really sugary coffee? If you do that daily, you will put on weight, you'll feel lethargic, it will mess with your brain, and lo and behold, you will perform at a very poor level. Get out there and exercise. I'm no expert on exercise in the slightest. Even sometimes a walk will do you good. On your lunch break, can you go for a walk? Instead of driving to the shop, could you walk? What activities can you do to help you stay fit? We've shared with you a whole array of great things that you can do to become a top performer. Make a note of them and share them with your colleagues in your sales team. If your sales team are doing these tips that I've shared with you, your competitor won't be, and you'll beat your competitor each and every time. If you want to further enhance your sales skills and to pick up one of my latest books, then please go ahead and do so. You can find them on Amazon or any good bookstore. Just search for Robert Spence, search for The Paragon Mindset, Relationship Selling, A Month to Improve Your Sales, and pick up a copy today. So it's time for listeners' questions. Now, this is a great part of the podcast. I think in every single episode, I've said this is my favorite part, and I think it might be. This podcast is for you. This podcast isn't for me. This podcast is for you, the listener. And I want you to get the best value return on investment from it. I know you're not paying anything for it, but you're at least putting time into it. So I want you to get some things from it. If, of course, you've got a burning question about sales, maybe there's some techniques you're unsure of. Maybe you've got a prospect you're struggling with. Maybe you're unsure of certain things. I'd love to help you. Of course, hopefully this podcast will answer those questions. And I've got various books and courses available to help you. But you can contact me. Search for the Sales Circle podcast anywhere on social media. You will find us. Join our Facebook group. And of course, be sure to email us, thesalescircleofficial@gmail.com. So I've got 3 questions here. I've got Lisa down in London. Hey, Lisa. She says, how can I stay motivated when I'm in a slump? Well, look. Every salesperson's going to go through a slump from time to time. Sometimes they last a long time. Hopefully they last a short time. And I think there's a couple of things I'd recommend. Number 1 is to create that vision board, okay? Create what you're trying to truly achieve, that why you're motivated, what's pushing you forward. That vision board is yours. No one is allowed to judge that vision board. It could be to have a fancy car. It could be to have a fancy house. Hey, it could just be to be able to go out with your friends on a Saturday night and not have to worry about how many bottles of wine you pay for. Whatever it is, they're your visions. Secondly, focus on the wins that you've had. Be grateful for the wins that you've had. Look back at some of your previous case studies, at some of your wins, your clients, your results. And maybe the third tip is to seek feedback. That feedback could come from your peers. It could come from mentors. It could come from within your team. But don't be afraid to try and get that feedback from your current clients, those that are enjoying you. Over time, if you do those 3 things and stay grateful for the opportunity, you'll soon bounce back. It's hard. It takes time. We've all been through it. But keep that chin up. If that chin's low, you're going to absolutely struggle. We've got another one from Tom. Thanks for this one, Tom. How do I make time for prospecting when I'm overwhelmed with admin tasks? Yeah, tough one for salespeople. Very, very, very tough one. It's very hard to know without sort of knowing your kind of current role and your current situation. Admin is important for salespeople. We've got to make sure our CRM system's up to date and so on. We recommend a good CRM system. I'll put a link below. It's very easy to use with a lot of autonomy behind the scenes. It does free up a lot of time, actually. And it's very important to do those admin tasks. But if you're trying to hit target, that prospecting has to go above and beyond all of the admin. With respect, it depends on once again how your pay structure is. It's far better to spend time in the day prospecting when other people are around for you to prospect to than it is to do it in the evening. So why can't you block out some time for some prospecting in the day and then just allow some time in the evening or last thing at night to do that admin work? Try and find a good CRM that helps. Like I say, I'll put a link below, but maybe right back in because it's hard to know without your situation. But let's not beat around the bush. Prospecting is a non-negotiable. If you're not prospecting, the start of your sales funnel is empty. So you've got to prospect. This one's from Priya in Sydney. Hey, Priya, good to hear from you. What's one habit you wish you developed earlier in your sales career? Goodness, I think for me, two things is what we said earlier, sort of that reviewing days and sort of being thankful for the day. And I think to some degree, like gratitude. Sometimes I have been known to be like, oh goodness, I've got so much on. I've got all these opportunities to deal with. Oh my God, I'm so busy. And actually I should have been like, I'm so thankful that actually I've got all this work coming on. I've got all this stuff. But I think don't be afraid to take the time at the end of the day. There's that song, isn't there? And it really sticks in my head. And I'm not going to sing it, but what have you done today to make you feel proud? If you can look back at the end of the day and ask yourself, what have you done today to make you feel proud? You'll go on to have a great career. And that's certainly something that I wish I'd developed earlier. So thanks so much for the questions. As I said earlier, if you do have a burning question, if there's anything I can help you out with sales, then please do get in touch through social media, email, or hunt me down on LinkedIn. So this part of the show, we talk about my book recommendation, the book that I recommend for the week. As always, I'll put a link to buy this in the show notes below. Please do go give it a go. One of the key habits we shared earlier on today is that consistent learning, that continuous drive, that continuous desire to learn more, that thirst for knowledge. And reading, I think, for salespeople is a great thing. I will physically fight anyone who says they don't have time to read, okay? Make the time to read. You need 20 minutes, either at the start of the day, the end of the day, the middle of the day, hell, even when you're on the toilet. 20 minutes a day of reading will absolutely take your career to the next level. Today's book recommendation is one we've probably all heard of. Start with Why by Simon Sinek. We've all seen his TED Talk, or I hope we have. If not, do go check it out. This book and, Simon Sinek's Why has kind of revolutionized salespeople, marketeers, business owners, speakers, and everyone else in between. And I believe, and I could be wrong, Simon Sinek's talk on Why is still the most watched TED Talk in history, I believe. I'll read the blurb. It says, why are some people and organizations more innovative, pioneering, successful than others? And why are they able to repeat their success again and again? Because in business, it doesn't matter what you do. It matters why you do it. And I'm going to repeat that again in Simon Sinek fashion. It's not what you do. It's why you do it. Steve Jobs, the Wright brothers, and Martin Luther King have one thing in common. They started with why. This book is for anyone who wants to inspire others or to be inspired. Fantastic read. It's a great book, and he talks a lot about what we call the golden circle, the what, the why, and the what, the why, the how. That's things that you should know as a salesperson. Where is it? There's a little picture of the golden circle there. If you've not heard of the concept of why, if you've not listened to the TED Talk, if you've not read this book, as a salesperson, you should know this, because we say constantly we should sell the sizzle, not the sausage. We should sell the benefits, not the feature. We should sell the what's in it for them, not for us. We should sell the why. That's what we should be selling. Beyond that, I believe that every salesperson should have their own why, their own reason to stay motivated. We started this podcast talking about how sales is tough. It's hard. It's monotonous. We face rejection. We've got to remember our why. We've got to remember why we do it. We've got to remember what drives us. And beyond that, as a business, why do we do things as a business? What Simon says is there's no such thing as we do this because to make profit. That's just a byproduct of everything. Why do you stand for what you do? Why did your business do what you do? Why do your products and services do what they do? Once you understand that, I believe that sales becomes so much easier. So please do go click the link below and give that book a little read. Of course, as always, if you do have a book recommendation, something maybe you've authored yourself, maybe something that you've read and you think is a great recommendation, please do send it on to me. I'd love to hear it. And that's it for this episode of the Sales Circle. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, it's an absolute pleasure, a privilege, and an honor to be sat down with you, talking to you, wherever you are listening to this. The key thing is this: take on board what we've discussed, take on board what we've said. Even if you can just take away one thing from this podcast and you do better and you make more money and you make more sales, I can die a happy man. These episodes come out every Thursday across all platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, everywhere. So please do make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to find us on social media. Your feedback, your thoughts, your comments, your questions are much, much appreciated. Next week, we're going to talk about the big one that everyone's kind of been waiting for, and I've had loads of comments about: objections and objection handling. We're going to do a little episode about objection handling. So it's probably normally the big thing that I get asked a lot about in my trainings. How do I handle objections and so on? So we're going to cover basic handling, objection handling skills in that episode. Thank you so much for joining me in the Sales Circle. Just do me one last quick favor. Send this to 2 of your sales friends. But until next time, all the best. And that's it for another episode of the Sales Circle. Make sure you hit that follow button, join us over on social media, and we'll see you next week.